What is going on, guys? It's Paul from Plato Prep. Today is the beginning of January 2018. Happy New Year's to everyone. Today actually it's a snow day here in New York City, so I know that there are a lot of students and probably more so teachers that are super excited today. I hope everybody's staying warm and safe. I'm super excited because today we are going to be going over the entire SHSAT practice exam number 1. I'm actually going to be starting off with the math section because I know that's the part that so many students have difficulties with. If you have not already done so, you should definitely take the test first before viewing these videos, so that you can learn from your own mistakes. If you don't have a copy of the exam, I did put a link below in the description so that you could access the exam easily. Make sure you print it out, take the exam, and then come back and watch these videos. I promise I'll still be here. Alright, so with that said, let's get started. Number 58 says, in the figure above, PQRS is a parallelogram. What is the value of x? You can see on the diagram where x is, and you can also see that there's a symbol here for the right angle. So we have 90 degrees over there. And what you really need to get is this angle over here. And we know that in a parallelogram, opposite angles are equal to each other in measurement. Okay, so what we're going to do is 180 minus 72. Okay, because we have a straight angle over here. We have a straight angle there, so that's 180 degrees. So 180 minus 72, that's going to give us 108. We know that this is 108. We know that this is 108. Okay, so 108 plus this 90 is going to give us 198. And we know that there are 360 degrees over here. So 360 minus 198, which is going to give you 162. And that is what x is. Your final answer. Number 59 says, the owner of a tree farm plants pine trees and oak trees in a ratio of 8:3. How many oak trees are planted if 264 pine trees are planted? So this is a proportion question. They're giving you pine to oaks. They're saying that equals 8:3. So pine's on the numerator and oak is on the denominator. You're going to set up this proportion. They give you 264 pines. So again, 264 is on the numerator. And then pine is what you're trying to, oak is what you're trying to figure out. Call that x. So you have this proportion, you're going to cross multiply, and you're going to get 8x equals. Now unfortunately, you are not allowed to use your calculator, so you're going to have to do everything by hand. So let's multiply this out. That's going to give you 12, carry the 1, 18, 19, carry the 1, 6, 7. Okay, so 8x equals 792. Divide both sides by 8 to isolate the x. And that's going to give you x equals 99. And that is our final answer. Number 60 says, for what value of w is 4w equals 2w minus 8? This is a fairly straightforward algebra question. We're going to solve for w by subtracting 2w on both sides, and that's going to give us 2w on the left and negative 8 on the right, and then divide by 2 on both sides, and you're going to get w equals negative 4, and negative 4 is our final answer. Number 61 says, a survey asked students what pets they have. Based on the results, the following statements are all true. 20 students have cats, 23 students have dogs, 3 students have both cats and dogs, and 5 students have no dogs or cats. So this may seem a little bit overwhelming at first when you look at it, because they give you a lot of information. And the question here is how many students were surveyed. So whenever you get questions like this, it's again, it might be a little bit overwhelming. You have to try to figure out a way to organize the data. And in this case, the best way to do it is by using a Venn diagram. I'm sure you guys have seen a Venn diagram before. So what I'm drawing is the box, which is called the universe. And then I'll draw 2 overlapping circles inside of it. So one circle will represent, let's make the one on the left represent cats, and the one on the right represent dogs. Whenever you create a Venn diagram like this, I would start off with the middle here, what they have in common, and we can see that 3 students have both cats and dogs. So that's where I would start off with 3. Then let's look at cats. Well, 20 students have cats. So what are you going to write over here? You're not going to write 20. You're going to write 17, because 17 plus the 3 gives us the 20. Okay? Similarly, over here on the right side, instead of writing 23 students, you're going to write 20, because the 20 plus the 3 gives you the 23. Okay? And then we have 5 students who are outside of the circles because they have neither cats or dogs. And again, the question was how many students were surveyed. So all you're going to do is you're going to add up these 4 numbers. So 17 plus 3, that's 20. 20 plus 20 is 40. 40 plus 5, that gives us 45. And that is our final answer. Number 62 says the sum of 2 consecutive integers is negative 15. If 1 is added to the smaller integer and 2 is subtracted from the larger integer, what is the product of the 2 resulting integers? So consecutive integers, first you have to know what that is. And those are just 2 numbers that are next to each other, like 1 and 2. And 99 and 100. So what we're going to do is since we don't know what the 2 consecutive integers are, we're going to just call them x, right? If the first one is x, the second one has to be x plus 1. And we know that the sum of x and x plus 1 is negative 15. That's given to us in the first sentence. So we're going to just solve for x here to figure out what that first integer is. And we're going to get 2x plus 1, which is negative 15. We're going to subtract 1 on both sides to give us 2x equals negative 16. Solve for x by dividing by 2 on both sides. And we're going to get x is negative 8. So negative 8 is the smaller of the 2 consecutive integers. To get the bigger one, you just add 1. Add 1 to negative 8, which is going to give us negative 7. So our 2 integers are negative 8 and negative 7. Okay, those are our 2 consecutive integers. If you go back to the word problem, it says if 1 is added to the smaller integer. So we're going to do plus 1 to the smaller one. Remember, the smaller one was -8, not -7. Remember, on a -8, the number line, on a number line, -8 is more to the left than -7, right? So -8 is smaller. That's where most people will get tripped up here. So let's add these two integers, and that's going to give us -7. Okay, so if 1 is added to the smaller integer and 2 is subtracted from the larger. So we're going to subtract 2 from the larger, and that's going to give us -9. Okay, and they want to know what is the product of the two resulting integers. So we're going to multiply these two numbers. Negative times negative is a positive. 7 times 9, that's going to give us 63. And that is our answer. All right, before we move on to the next question, I do want to go over the process of gridding in. I cannot tell you how many students I've had in the past that get the question right, but they grid in improperly, and then they don't receive any credit for that question. Okay, so that breaks my heart, that breaks a student's heart, and I definitely don't want to see that happening to you. So take the time to practice gridding in. Okay, on the exam, I know you don't want to read the instructions during the exam, and I recommend that you don't read the instructions during the exam, because you should know what the instructions are going to be before you take the exam. If you read the instructions during the exam, you could easily waste 3 to 5 minutes, because these instructions, they're like so long that it's going to take you a very long time to read through it. And those are 3 to 5 minutes you could be spending getting another question or two correct. So let's look at this. Number 58, the correct answer was 162. So the proper way to grid in is, again, to start from the left. You can see that the leftmost box here is negative symbol, and because 162 is a positive number, we're going to just skip over that, and we're going to write 162. Okay, and then you're going to grid in the corresponding numbers. Okay, and make sure that you bubble in better than I'm bubbling in right now. Okay, make sure you do it clearly and you fill in the entire circle, stay within the circle, and that's how you do it. Okay, number 59, the answer was 99. Okay, this is what a lot of students do. They'll write 99 like this, and again, that is incorrect. If you bubble it in like that, 99, that's incorrect. You got to start from the left side. It's 99. Okay, again, bubble in the corresponding numbers. The next one was -4. Okay, so that one did have a negative symbol, so you're going to write -4, bubble in the negative, and bubble in the 4. Okay, let me do one more example. We didn't have an answer that involved a decimal, but let me show you how that would look. So let me erase this, and let's say our answer was 0.23. The way you would do that, again, is you would start from the left, you write 0.23, and then bubble in 0.23. Okay, another way that you can bubble this in is you could write 0.23. Okay, that would be another acceptable way of bubbling this in. Okay, both of them would be marked as correct. Normally you would only have one way of bubbling in, but with the decimal sometimes you'll have two ways of bubbling in, like here, and both of them would be acceptable. If any box is blank, like over here it says 0.23 with a blank, just leave it blank. You don't need to fill it in with a 0 or anything else. Most times if you put in any extra bubbles, you will get it incorrect, so just leave it blank. And that's it. Okay, on the next video we'll be moving on to the multiple choice section, number 63. If you still have any questions on anything that we reviewed today, leave a comment and I'll answer them. If you learned anything, leave the video a thumbs up. Make sure that you subscribe because we're going to be putting out a lot more content to help you with some of these tough exams. And also, let me know where you're watching this from. Plato Prep, our headquarters is in Queens, but let me know which borough you're watching this from. And I'll see you in the next video.